Warning, while this is a kid's film, this video is not meant for children. Okay, bye-bye. Good afternoon to the people in California, and good evening to the people in the United Kingdom. And for the East Coast people, happy 3 o'clock. Today, I am discussing a public icon, a social staple of mainstream media. This is the final straw! Today, I'm talking about Sonic. But mostly, I'm talking about Sonic the Hedgehog, the movie. You know, the movie that had an explosion of controversy? Yeah, that's Sonic. Sonic the Hedgehog was supposed to be released in 2019, but when everyone collectively, almost in harmony, decided to dunk on the character design, they then decided to delay the film and rework on the design. And then sometime in, I think, February or somewhere around there, quite frankly, I don't really give a shit, the film was released to the mass, to a group of consumers, ready to just eat up the lovable blue character himself. I didn't expect anything good from this movie, which is why I waited so long to watch it. I needed time for maturity and reflection to prepare me for this movie. That being said, let's just get started. Let's jump right into it. By the way, spoilers for everybody, you've been warned. So starting off this film, let's talk about the opening. We follow baby Sonic as he runs around in his little Sonic world. The introduction of this film, it could have used some work. Baby Sonic is horrifying, especially with how fast he's going. Picture this thing full sprint towards you. I would shit myself. But not a second later, it's over, and his ass is on Earth. Sad Sonic, poor Sonic, I'm sorry. If they fleshed out the ideas of the world in the introduction, it could have been a fun and interesting way to connect with the audience. But the pacing is just too quick and we barely know anything. It's incredibly bare bones and was obviously just meant to be used for exposition. The next part of the movie is just kind of like Sonic walking around small American counties and just kind of like, you know, stalking people. Why couldn't they just have Sonic running around a cartoon-like world fighting Eggman? With a setting like that, you almost have an unlimited amount of possibilities. And yes, I understand there's a budgetary restraint, but instead we get the most easy and generic version possible. What's the need to have this in the real world? Except of having it being easier to film, I guess? Haven't film studios learned their lessons from like 10 years ago with the Smurf movies? Everyone hated that shit, and let's face it, this is what the Smurf movies were, except there's just a different blue character. Sonic is a lonely, angsty teenager that needs to get his emotions out, and he gets his emotions out in the form of electric goo. So when Sonic shoots his electric goo out, the government gets a whiff of it and starts to investigate. Why are there Pentagon shots in the Sonic film? This is like the most unoriginal concept of all time. A creature is discovered and the government comes to grab him up. You know what that sounds like? That's literally E.T. from the 80s. Not too much later, we are introduced to Dr. Eggman, Ph.D. Fun fact, Eggman's Ph.D. is an evil. Jim Carrey in this film does a wild and eccentric performance. What else is new? And while some points are kind of charming and endearing, there are some obnoxious moments with him. There was that one scene that was shown in the trailer. An officer was trying to speak and Eggman was constantly cutting him off. It was incredibly obnoxious in the trailers, and even more so in the movie. The goal of this movie is for Sonic, a character that can run really fast, that's literally his only trait, to go on a flippin' road trip to San Francisco in a car. And sprinkled through this movie are product placements for Olive Garden. I hated that so much. The only thing that makes me wanna do is buy Olive Garden. It's a hood, cause that's what people definitely want from movies. Oh, I guess it was trying to be done for comedic purposes, but the comedy was not there and it comes off super corporate. I just see a bunch of dudes in suits going, okay, we need to talk about Olive Garden. Moving on from the horrible attempts at comedy, the drama. Sonic pretty much dies multiple times in this movie, and every time, people around him are sad. But then he just pops up like, hey yo, I'm fine. Where are my shoes at? The obvious attempt to like manipulate the emotion, it just comes off tone deaf and unintentionally humorous. No. Play little strings, play a little that beep. I'm sad now, I'm sad. During said explosion that would inevitably kill Sonic, the main guy grabs hold of lifeless Sonic's body. And it just looks weird. Just the way his hand interacts with Sonic's body, it's obvious he's holding on to nothing. But you know what? The animation, it's at least better than it was before. During the reveal trailers, they showed off Sonic's character design, and it looks awful. I really just want to take a minute to really talk about this. His teeth and eyes are really weird and creepy. If this was trying to be a horror parody like Meat Canyon, this would be perfect. But who signed off on this design? And I feel like if there was no pushback, we would be seeing a whole movie with this motherfucker on screen. Oh my god. Ugh. There's a part of me, like everybody, that kind of wishes that they kept the design, like a little bit. I would have just loved to experience the horror that would have been this movie. Especially in the movie theaters, seeing all the kids like literally crying because of this, now that would have been an experience. Just imagine what Tails would have looked like with that design. Untapped potential. I've really been hating on this film, but truth be told, I actually liked some stuff. One of the things I liked was the actor Ben Schwartz, the character of Sonic. I thought he was really fitting and worked really well for the role. There were certain character moments that I also really liked. I thought they were very endearing and positive. I like when things are positive, but other than those two ideas, I really did not like this movie. They go to San Francisco, they do their thing, yada yada yada. The rest of the movie is just really a bunch of bullshit. By the end of the movie, Eggman, he loses. He gets sent off to another dimension and kind of just, just hangs out. However, he gets his classic character design. So, in the end, really, the only losers were the animators. I kind of want to go into the issue that has been well documented before. I want to talk about how professional animators get exploited to no end. As CGI and the tools used for CGI get more common and advanced, the usage and need of CG skyrocketed. The amount of time companies demand on the artist for efficiency is absurd. All that, along with many companies essentially having to underpay and overwork their animators just to be competitive, is extremely exploitative and really fucked up. A lot of people really made fun of the animations, but come on, is that really the animator's fault? Probably not. And yes, when some people praised the animation when they fixed it, I don't think anybody talked about the Vancouver company that was responsible for the redesign. Essentially closed shop a little while after the movie came out. And I mean, seriously, read this shit. I know this is unrelated, but it is. You should definitely look up the abuse that a lot of animators went through during production of the horrible Sausage Party movie. If you want further reading of any of these, I have them all in the description below. Anyways, to end off on at least a better note, Sonic does a little meow, he eats a chili dog, and everyone has a good time. And you know what? By the end of the movie, I had a good time also. However, what keeps me from rating this film higher is the story. The idea alone that Sonic is one of the fastest characters alive, and he drives his ass to San Francisco does kind of piss me off. And I give this film a 3 out of 10. I am interested to see the second one, for sure. And do you know what I take away from this whole experience? Where's Sonic's dick? Does he have one of those foldable dicks?